All right, all right, all right, all right. Hello, my CNC brothers and sisters. I'm Garrett with IDC Woodcraft, and welcome to another Wednesday where we're going to be talking CNC business. And today we are going to be talking about pricing your CNC projects. I get asked these questions all the time, and I see it all the time in Facebook groups. And so we are going to be talking to Kate again, since I'm guiding her in business. And um, also, we're going to tap into the community here that's here who also has businesses and get some different perspectives on how to price your CNC projects going into business. And we're going to also cover, weave in and out of this, something that's really, really important. And that is also understanding your market, because depending on the market that you are going after is going to depend on how you can price your projects. But at the end of the day, when it comes down to CNC business, there's one rule of thumb. And that rule of thumb is you have to make a profit. If you are not, then you are in a hobby and you're working really hard in a hobby. So we're going to be talking about that. We're going to be talking about your own psychology again in how to price things, because price resistance in all business from a customer is not because of the customer most of the time. It is us projecting to the customer what they call objections or resistance. It's a very interesting thing. Business, again, as I've said the last two times with Kate, business is 100% up here, and we have to change our level in our business, if or in our mind, if we were going to change our level in our business. So I want to say hello to a few people that have popped on board. So we have Shannon. Hello, Shannon. And there's Yard Sale. Hey, that's my man, Harold. Christopher, what's going on? Oz and Jack in the shop. Man, Jack, you are just such a regular. So is Oz. So cool to see you guys. And who else we got coming in on board? We got Ron. Hi, Ron. And Habe with Wood. Hobo with Wood. Okay. And Nick. Hello, hello. And we have RRUSS Russ, whatever that is. And Butch. Hello, hello. All right. I'm bending down because my eyes are all bugged out right now. I am going to be having to deal with some cataract stuff here this month and next month. So things are not looking pretty right now. So I have to kind of get a little closer to the screen to see what's scrolling by. And we got Kurt and Butch. Butch did, oh, wow, where'd that go? Like, bam. Oh, you got your bits today. Awesome. Awesome. And everybody's coming on board. And right now we have about 45 people here. Okay, so what I want to do first of all is bring Kate back on board. First of all, if you are just popping on to this for the first time, what you are jumping into is basically a mentoring series. Kate Tucker is a CNC sister. I'm going to bring her on, and we have been talking for about a year, and she has helped me, and I'm helping her, and so she has been trying to get her business going and struggled with it, and she'll give you her little elevator speech here in just a moment. And so we kind of agreed. She's in the same space that she wants to help other people on her journey, right? And this is part of what business is about, is sharing your journey with other people, not just inside the community that we are in, but with your customer as well. Because one of the things in business that there's many sayings when it comes to business and marketing is facts tell, stories sell. So if you are selling a project to somebody and you're telling them, oh yeah, this is made of walnut and it took me this long to make it and I had to run it through this machine to do this and program that, they don't give a crap about that, right? They care about what they're getting out of it at an emotional level. Okay. And so pricing falls into this emotional level to a lot of degrees. So a couple more hellos, and then Kate is going to start talking. We got, well, I said hello to everybody. I think that's come by. Steve, I didn't say hi to Steve and Patrick and Don. Okay, so Kate, why don't you say hello? Give your quick intro for those who have jumped on to this mentoring series, which we are doing every Wednesday at
Hmm.
8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So if you want to grow your business and learn along with Kate, then jump on board. Schedule it into your Wednesdays. Okay, Kate, say hello.
Hi, everybody. It's nice to see all of you back again. Thank you for the repeats. Friends that keep coming back, we love having you every week. So I am so fortunate to have you in the room because you get to see Garrett's outstanding mentoring skills, but you also get to see me grow as a CNC entrepreneur. So, as Garrett says, my elevator speech, I have been in woodworking for roughly 5 to 7 years, tinkering here and there. And then I started a craft business, which was very successful. And I went from a little bitty Cricut crafting machine to a big vinyl cutter. And I finally reached a point in the business where I just said, the market is so overly saturated. I want to take my business to the next level and up the ante. So that's what I did. I dove in. I could have gone with a laser easily. I know a lot of people do lasers, but I wanted something different. I wanted something to really challenge me and to take me to the next level. And that's why I bought a CNC machine. I went for the Onefinity X50 Journeyman. I love my machine, but I had zero experience going in. And after I placed the order, I had about a 6 month waiting period. And then that's when I found Garrett's channel and I just dove in, started taking notes, making all the notes, filling up notebooks of how to run, how to operate, and how to use the software and what I needed to have when my CNC arrived. So here we are about a year later. I've made lots of cool projects and learned a lot, but now I'm more in the headspace of I've done a lot of work on the CNC and now I want to transition that into a business that is sustainable and profitable.
Okay, so that's good. The way you just said that towards the end, sustainable and profitable, but also scale, right? To grow, right?
Yes.
That's what we want to do with business. We want to get it to grow and to a level that we're comfortable with. Um, but you also want to make a profit out of it, right? I mean, that's what business is
Yes.
all about. And you want to simplify things on your end so that you're not working super hard. Now, like most CNC creators, you spend your first 6 months to a year figuring the stuff out, building up the
Mhm.
skills, understanding the quirks and the emotions of your machine,
The
and
pains.
yep, and
Yep.
learning how to dial things in and kind of get the whole process in your head. And about what I have discovered is about 60% of us are interested in starting a business. And
Yeah.
they there's different percentages in different realms, right? So there's
Mhm.
retirees who are like, I want to do something else with my life, and so they want to take on that challenge, and they've come out of the
Mhm.
workforce. There are those who are tired of the 9 to 5 and are just getting, just I got to have something else, and this is what they latched
Something else to
onto.
do.
Yep. And then there's those that just say, you know what, there's something else inside of me that I want to go after, and what I do now isn't fulfilling. Oh, that's Kate, right? And so in the first couple of sessions here, we've talked about you as an individual, what your life circumstance is. Mom to several kids. You have a husband who travels all the time, so you're wearing many hats and trying to get do this business thing at the same time.
Yeah.
And then we've talked a bit about psychology. And last time we talked about some of the backlash you got by starting a CNC for Women's Facebook group and
Mhm.
learning how to deal with that. So look, we're going to rehash that a little bit before we get into pricing, because for you who's watching this, the like I said earlier, business is all up here. It's
Mm-hmm.
100% in how you think and how you interact with the world and how you react to the world. And when you get in a business, I want you to think of you as a customer going into places where you're buying from and how we as consumers expect businesses to do certain things in certain ways and perform at certain levels.
Mm-hmm.
But we don't always see the other side of how business really operates. When you, like, such in my case, right? I am sitting down, I'm ordering, uh, 1,000 boxes from Uline, right? For, you don't know that I spent $1,000 in buying boxes,
Yeah.
$3,000 in coffee mugs, right, to pass out. Um,
Yeah.
and buying little labels and printing them out and sticking them on things. There's so much that goes
Yeah.
on behind the scenes. And as business owners, we have to learn how to shift into that, and at the same time understand that the consumer is thinking very differently, and we have to be psychologically prepared for that, because
Yeah.
otherwise we get mad at them. The customer does not care about what we do. The customer cares about what they get. Okay. And so when you
Yep.
got some backlash, right? We talked a bit since before last meeting and
Yep.
during the meeting, the last Wednesday session, and
Mm-hmm.
we've talked between then and now. And so, what are some of your thoughts on this? You're trying to build a market,
Right.
CNC, for women. That's one of the things you're trying to do. The other thing we're going to talk
Yeah.
about heavily here is pricing projects. But I just want to I have to set the stage. When it comes to business mentoring, I can't stress this enough. We have to shift our own psychology, right? The way we think.
Yeah.
So,
You have
so
to get out of your own head.
yeah. So let's talk a little bit about that, and then we're going to get into the pricing strategies and talk about that a bit.
All right. So where do you want me to start? Where do you feel is most beneficial?
What you've learned from customers that maybe, yeah, whether it's a customer or someone in our community, right? We do have some sour apples,
Right.
and realizing that these are one and the same type of people, right? And
Mm-hmm.
learning how to just kind of have you
That same
shifted and
mentality.
understanding that they are in a different space in their minds,
Mm.
and it has nothing to do with us, right? So I kind of want your take on what you've learned in this and how that may have helped you a bit in your business understanding.
Well, so there's like you said, there's going to be a lot of negativity and sour apples in anything and everything that you do. It's just a matter of turning them off, but also in that same breath, learning from them. Because if you let every negative Nelly that comes through the door or every negative customer, it'll just stop you in your tracks. You're never gonna just keep pressing forward, and you can't let those type of people drag you down. If I had a nickel for every time somebody said, "Oh, you can't do that," or, you know, "You can't do that. You have too many responsibilities as a mom." Well, you're not being, you can't be a good mom and a good wife and try to start a business. And I'm like, challenge accepted. Watch me now.
Right. Right.
So, here recently, actually, I would say probably within the last couple of months, I made this beautiful charcuterie board. Um, I don't remember. I think it was like a tiger wood. It was so pretty. And she wanted me to laser one of her grandmother's recipes on it. I really did not want to because it's such a beautiful piece of wood, but I did. And I showed her the piece of wood. I, texted it to her and showed her everything of what it was going to look like. And she got it and she was like, "I'm going to throw this in the fire pit." I was like, um, okay. Phew, like hit me upside the head, but I just have to do me And I had to say, okay, this is not about me. This is about her. I don't know what she didn't like. So, as a business owner, I need to conduct myself with um, poise and be respectful and not be ugly and just be like, well, it's you that doesn't like it, and blah, 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 and, just come back at her and be ugly, because that's not how business owners conduct themselves. So I said, okay, well, I'm so sorry to hear that you're unhappy with the product. Can you tell me why you didn't like it? Um, I would be happy to refund. What can I do to make this right? And she's like, well, I just didn't want you to think I was getting any enjoyment out of it because I was just going to throw it on my burn pile. That was her response to what I said to her. And I'm like,
Mhm.
okay, well, that's not at all what I asked, but I understood that she was upset. And so I just said, okay, well, I'll be happy to refund your money. And if you don't mind, would you mind repackaging it and putting it on your front porch? And I will come pick it up. Because I wasn't just going to let that wood just go to waste. Like, I could totally reuse it as a business
Mhm.
owner, thinking, I need to get my hands back on that board, is what I'm thinking internally, aside from all her whatever she was, whatever it was that she was trying to conduct herself with. And then there's just a lot of people also in the community that don't like, they just want to create turmoil. They're just, sorry fellas, they're just called shit stirrers. And I eventually, I've told my kids eventually, in their teenage years, I've said, look, if you're going to stir the shit pot, eventually you're going to have to lick the spoon. So there you are. I mean, I just, I don't have a lot of headspace for them. They're almost laughable, some of the comments that they make. So for instance, there was a comment actually on the YouTube video where you posted this from our last mentoring session, and they were commenting about like your backdrop and my backdrop. And I was like, okay, he lives in like a really cool historic town, and the architecture and all of that's just how the houses are built. Like, you just have to understand the city. Like, I live in Indianapolis, so I know where Madison is. And if you would see it, you would just be like, wow, this place is so cool. So that's why you have those unique windows up top. But he was making fun of that and saying maybe you should be doing videos on home improvement. And then he commented on all of my like dust boots and stuff, saying how on point I was. And then 2 steps later, he was like, oh, don't worry about her being competition, because she uses epoxy in her wood. And I was just like, what?
Yeah. So this person
Just
was just
super
off in
small
left field,
minded.
and so the point is
Sorry. Yeah.
yeah, in business and customers, we're going to have it. Your point with that one customer, right?
Hmm.
Just just throwing mud at you for something. We don't know what goes on right in their world. Maybe they lost somebody. Maybe they got a fight. Maybe they got fired. Who knows? And we
Yeah.
end up getting the brunt. But at the same time, we as business owners have self-respect, and you by all means have a right to fire a customer. Okay, as a
That's
business
such a
owner.
good point.
Yep, as a business owner, you are building something for you for your livelihood, and
Hmm.
through that it is, you have to build your self-respect, and say, just because you're the customer's not always right if you're going to treat me like this. Right.
Hmm.
I have fired many customers, paying customers, right? So, okay, so um, there's comments are coming by, but I do want to get on this pricing thing first, and start
Yeah.
talking about price, and then we'll start tapping into the comments. I do want to say thank you to Trade Skills Anonymous, made a donation of ten bucks there, thanking us for doing this stuff here. All right, it's for the entrepreneurial journey.
Very cool.
Yeah,
Very nice,
yeah,
JR.
yep. Okay, so let's talk pricing. So the first thing I want to share with you, Kate, and with everybody else
Okay.
is don't think about pricing until you start thinking about the market you are going to be serving. And what I say, what the market, this is the demographic that you're going to serve. We've talked about avatar a little
Yes.
bit, but we have not jumped into the avatar work, which is so important because that's going to establish a lot of things. Um,
Hmm.
but the first thing is if we're making everything and we're trying to sell it to everyone, you will always struggle
Mm-hmm.
because you have no focus on your business or your clarity on your business other than I'm just making stuff and trying to sell it, right? Business is not about just making things and trying to get a buck out of it. It's about fine tuning your focus. If you're
Mm-hmm.
brand new as a CNCer and you don't really know what project to make, like there's a comment here, someone is asking, what are the best projects to start making to sell?
Okay.
Um, yeah, so we'll address that comment in a little while. Um, but so I talk about you have your dollar store shoppers, your Walmart shoppers, your Kroger level shoppers, and then your jungle gym shoppers, right? And so
Trader Joe's.
Trader Joe's, yeah. What is Jungle Gyms? Oh, Jungle Gyms. I don't know what Jungle. Okay, Trader Joe's. Thanks for correcting
Trader Joe's.
me. Yeah, yeah. Okay, and so these are all different dollar levels that people are they buy at these places because of their financial thermostat or their number one, their sense of self value. Okay,
Yep.
those that go to the dollar store generally are not the prettiest people on the planet, right? They don't drive the best cars. We'll just say they live a low budget lifestyle, right?
Mm-hmm.
And the reason that they live that type of lifestyle is because that's what they know. And so that's their psychology. And those are the worst customers you want to go after. This is why you don't want to get down competitive pricing with other
Right.
people. Okay, because when you get down with all the masses, uh, if everybody here is making cutting boards and we're selling them between 30 and $50, right, and just making a couple
Mm-hmm.
pennies off of it, we're all fighting for the same space, and we're all playing with the same lower budget customers that aren't really interested in the feeling behind the work. They may say it's a pretty
Right.
board, but there's not a lot of emotional meaning behind it. There's not a lot of value behind it for them
Mm-hmm.
because their own sense of self value is at a certain level. Okay, so
Okay.
does that make sense to you?
Yes.
Okay,
Yes, absolutely. Yeah.
okay,
Just trying to soak it all in,
right, right,
trying to
and
process that deeper level of
right, and so we,
what it all means.
ideally, as we're starting out, right? Well, we'll get back to that in a minute. The
Okay.
best place you want to start trying to fit yourself into is the Kroger level crowd. Now we've got lots of different uh, places we can sell this stuff at. They're online,
Right.
your Etsy and your website, you know, um, craft shows and what have you. But
Mm-hmm.
even craft shows have the same different types of demographics. So you want to find craft
Yeah.
shows where people are spending more money, and they're just a higher class of people. Um,
Yeah.
think beer drinkers versus wine drinkers, right?
That's fair.
Wine
Yeah.
drinkers are going to spend.
Mm-hmm.
They just
Mm-hmm.
generally have a higher sense of their value in their world, and they're willing to spend more for the things that they have for nicer things,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Um, so so when it comes to pricing, this is what one of the things we have to think about in our avatar. So I want to talk about avatar. Okay, but
All
before I
right.
do that, let's kind of just rehash what I just shared with you.
Mm-hmm.
What you just kind of heard me say, because I wanted to hear what you
Do you want
just.
me to kind of repeat
Yeah,
everything that you just
I want.
said?
Yeah, yeah. Because if you don't, if I'm just talking, then it kind of works like this. And when I say something, it means something. When you say something, it really means something.
Okay. So you have your different tiers of people. You have your different tiers of shopping levels, spending levels, lifestyles. And what I'm absorbing is yes, with the craft shows, I know exactly what you're saying. I'm going back like in my brain when I started doing craft shows, and I'm also thinking about Etsy and I'm thinking about my website, but I'm also thinking about how do I up the ante on my marketing game. My thoughts were, so I have some realtors that I sell to. Um, they wanted a couple, like keys made for, taking a picture at their store and this and that, but those are kind of one-offs. So the way that I had to up my ante was I worked with those realtors, which were fine, and they're selling, um, regular homes, everyday homes to the majority of people that, buy median-sized homes. What I'm thinking about doing is I have a girlfriend of mine and she sells homes up in Geist, which if you're anywhere familiar with Indianapolis, they're multi-million dollar homes. They're on the Geist Reservoir. I mean, you look at some of these homes and you just go, what do some of these people do for a living? Good Lord. Um, and that is the group of realtors that I want to get into because, if I sell a little wine rack and it has some olive wood and some epoxy in it and then a charcuterie board and something else, and I sell those for $200, I could easily, I have to look at the market where I want to sell. And I mean, $175 or $200 for her for a gift for someone who just bought a $5 to $10 million home is going to be like, she might be like, okay, is that the best you got? Like,
Hmm.
what else do you have? And so that's when I'm listening, I'm thinking all about how can I really up the ante and how can I also niche down? Excuse me. How can I niche down into those custom, high value, um, return clients? Because I know that if I work with this realtor and I'm providing this high quality product for her, she's going to tell her realtor friends. Well, I may put a twist on that so then everybody's not getting the same gift, but again, maybe up the ante so then that way if the first client, if the first realtor comes back around and she sees what, her friend Sue got, now we have a mixed variety. And it's not only, it's not necessarily the focus on Etsy where I'm just like sitting, waiting and hoping and praying that people are going to find me. I'm really taking that into, I'm taking my future more into my hands instead of just waiting. Yes, the website is essential and it's great that it looks professional and very business oriented because they need a place to go and buy the products. But it's also a great place for them to say, okay, well, I want to have a stack of, 10 of these ready to go. Can you just keep a stack with my name on them? So if I sell a house, I can call you up, you can carve it, personalize it, laser engrave it, whatever, and then give it to me. And I will meet you. I will drive to your office. I will personally hand deliver them that customer service experience. And then that way I feel like, you know, I'm taking my future a little bit into my own hands and I'm not just waiting for the Walmart crowd and then waiting to level up to the Kroger crowd and then so on. But
Yeah.
the thing I would be struggling with is the price, and that's where I feel like you are very strong. Is
Hmm.
that,
Yeah.
I don't know if I
No,
got off on a
actually,
tangent there, but
well,
I feel
no,
like,
no, you said some good stuff here, because you identified something that many new creators don't see, right? And that is, starting off in Etsy, which is not a bad thing. But Etsy can be
no.
frustrating for people, because
Mhm.
you're in the crowd. Um, but what you
Yeah.
just said is something you identified, which Kate, pat yourself on the back, because you realize that Etsy, you're kind of at the whim of whatever Etsy does and how their
Right.
algorithms work, right? You do have to do your work, make your images right, use search engine optimization in there, but now you got a little bit more strategy in your mind. You're thinking of a high-end realtor, right?
Yes.
There's even your realtors that sell the 3 bedroom low budget homes. They're not going to pay a lot. They're going to pay $40 for one, right?
Yeah.
For a board. But you're when they're doing when you're going $10 million homes, now they
Yeah.
have a bigger financial mindset. Here's the interesting thing.
Yes.
I want you to kind of wrap this one around your head and maybe take some
Okay.
notes. So I'm telling you is your customer on this one, if you pursue this real estate customer,
Okay.
the realtor, and then go after other realtors that are selling high-end homes,
Yeah.
they are your customer. However, you if they're not necessarily close enough friends, you
Hmm.
need to, the idea is to close them. Now, I'm going to come back to this word and what it means, but
Okay.
the idea is to identify their, they already know they have to give value to their customer, which is the buyer, right?
Yes.
So you have to understand the buyer's mentality and the
Okay.
buyer's desire and the way the buyer is going to view the things that that realtor is going to give them as a gift, right? And
Hmm.
once you understand that, and you can talk to the realtor from a language of, remember what your buyer is going to be seeing if you're going to be giving them this as a closing gift, right? And so
Okay.
what that does is that frames it into a higher value. Uh,
Okay.
it kind of makes sense
Yeah. I
for
was just
them.
making a note.
They actually they actually get mentally, emotionally framed at a higher value for the items. Okay, it
Okay.
just so it's that's psychological framing or emotional framing that you are using, showing them, using their customer as the reference as to, this is the stuff. Uh, if you want to sell, give this as to a $10 million buyer, right?
Yeah.
And you're going to give them a $200 board,
No.
right? That's the kind of thing
That,
you want.
yeah. And it's hard for me because I'm not that person. I'm not a $10 million homeowner. So I would have no idea what they would want. But I'll go back to what you've said before is you have an individual that makes $800 charcuterie boards. And
I
he
saw
sells,
one for $2,100 the other day.
yeah. I mean, I was showing Michael last night, my husband, and I was showing him an artist on Instagram that love her work. It's huge, but I was looking at her pieces and I told Michael, I said, "Oh my God, I would love to have one of these pieces." And one of the pieces of art were like $2,400
Mhm.
and one was $4,200 and $1,500. And we're just not in that phase of life where we can just, spend $2,400 on a piece of art. But those people that are spending $10 million on a home, absolutely. They'd
Mhm.
probably buy the whole dang collection if they wanted it. They'd be like, here you go.
Yeah, yeah.
Um,
For everyone who is watching this right now, what I want you to kind of think about in this dialogue here, right? For even for a new creator just getting into this, I saw that question: what should I make? Start making. Um, what I'm hoping this is doing for you is realizing that as you're doing this, to mentally start to prepare yourself to shift up in in
yeah,
in in value, right? Because when we first get into this, and especially if we come out of the employee world as an employee, where we clock in, clock out, or do our 8, 10 hours, and at the end
yeah,
of the week we get a paycheck, right? That's literally, we have chunked our time. That time frame is done. As a business owner, it's very, very different, right? We don't have a time clock. The
no,
results of our business are purely dependent on what we do and what we learn, how we up our skills. And that's
yeah,
exactly what we're trying to do here. And the first thing is we have to up our own sense of standards. So that's what I'm hoping that
absolutely.
everybody that is watching this is starting to realize, that this is about you first, right?
Yes.
And realizing that you're stepping into a different world, and it's going to take a little while, right, to change the way that
Oh,
you
yeah.
think. It just is, because we just have this. You don't know what you don't know, right? And right,
Yeah.
until we reach out and start learning,
Yeah.
and finding those people that know. Um, so so let's talk. I want to add. I want to address this question here. because it's kind of hanging here. I thought it was a good question. It's from someone who's new, apparently,
Okay.
and it's from Facebook user. And well, a lot of people have the same name. How does that work like that? So Facebook user, if you're on Facebook, sometimes it doesn't register you. There's something you can do, but I don't know the thing. So as a beginner, how do you pick the best project to make? Not knowing what sells well, you're finding it hard to figure out what will sell without wasting money. So let's talk about on this one, Kate. How did you start actually selling things to just kind of jog this to start to spur some ideas
You mean as working with just a CNC or in my business previously?
as a CNC?
Okay.
You know,
Um,
I guess the kind of question is, what kind of projects were you making? How did you get them noticed? What did you find that was selling for you? You know, that could kind of give Facebook user here an idea of the best projects to make. The first answer is there are no best projects just yet. All right, but
yeah.
go ahead and talk a little bit about how you started and how you were
Well,
starting
I
your
would
sales.
say I made a lot of small projects to start with, just because as a beginner, I wasn't overly confident in my skills as a CNCer. So I'm not sure when you say as a beginner, are you new to the business world or are you new to the CNC business world?
I'm going to take this as both.
Both. Okay.
Yeah.
So I did a little bit of what I knew already, which was signs. That was my business. I did wood signs. So I converted some of my um, designs that I already had and I turned them into carved signs, which were great. A lot of people really liked them, but they were just kind of like hanging around. Like noticed that there wasn't a lot of growth. Um, so what I did is I did a little social experiment, if you will, and I tapped into a market that I knew everybody is really passionate about, the American flag. So I made a lot of patriotic things. I did the American flag and it had a big, beautiful eagle carved into it, and it was stained with, the red for the red, for the flag and the blue for the stripes. And I went and I matched those colors exactly so they looked perfect, and I fire burned it, and I just gave it that really unique look. And I made sure that it wasn't too difficult. So if I had a lot of orders, that would replicate. But it was something that resounded with people, and I knew that I could touch a lot of hearts if I started making things like that. I made some of the big yellow "Don't Tread on Me" flags. Oh man, those things were a lot of work, but they sold like hotcakes. Um, I made just some like little wooden walnut flags. Those were really popular. Really patriotic things that people feel passionate about were probably my biggest sellers.
Mhm. Okay. And where were you selling these? What was the market? Was it friends at church or how,
So first of all, I just started posting them on my Instagram and my Facebook. That's where a lot of people started connecting with me, and then I took out a small ad on Facebook Marketplace, and then that just kind of like ranked my stuff a little bit higher. And that actually, I found a lot of customers just through that one ad, which was really surprising, to be honest. But I didn't sell any on Etsy, which was shocking. I had a couple orders come through my website, but those were because the people reached out. People at my husband's work, they were previous military, and they knew that Mike was like, "Hey, look at my wife's stuff," and they were like, "Oh man, I want one of those. That's cool." So, you just got to start. You got to start somewhere.
yeah, so a little bit of a mix. But you
Mhm.
pointed out one thing, so for this individual is that I say all the time. People don't buy things because for logic, they buy them for emotional reasons. And the stronger the emotion within them, the more they're
Yep.
willing to pay. And so patriotic stuff, if you're in the USA, uh, you will do just fine, right? You, but
Yeah.
the thing is uh, just start. create them and get them out on your social media. Meaning social media, you're this person is clearly on Facebook, right? And
Yeah.
so start posting it on your Facebook. Now, I want to
Yeah.
give you some tips about social media platforms for everybody to listen, that you need to understand about how these things work, how Facebook works. Now, I want you to, a lot of people aren't going to like this, but as a business owner, this is beautiful. Facebook holds 52,000 data points on every individual. They know more about you and what you're going to be doing than you know about what you're going to be doing, right?
Hmm.
Because the algorithms pick
That
up
crazy?
patterns and trends. It is crazy. It's not like there's big brothers back there, people watching. It's the algorithms are built because Facebook is built for business, right? It's a
Yeah.
social network, but its core function is for business, right? So as a person who's on Facebook, you might first think, oh my God, Facebook knows everything, right? Um, but as a,
Yeah.
going into business, you want to turn that into your advantage. You just gotta. We don't have a choice in technology. We don't have a choice in Google knowing where we're driving around, or Apple know where we're driving around, because we got our phones with us, and it's
Yeah.
always tracking the phone, right?
Yeah.
Um, Google has over 2 million data points per individual.
Mm.
All right. So
That's terrifying.
yeah, yeah, yeah. It's just what it is. Again, we can't avoid it. As business owners, we want to take advantage of it.
Of
So
course.
I want Google and Facebook to know everything I'm doing. They can have at it. I wake up, good morning, Google. Good morning, Facebook.
Oh my gosh.
It knows my schedule, right? No, I mean I don't do that, but
Oh my gosh.
it's just what it is,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah,
Um,
it's scary, but it's really important for business.
mhm. And it
So,
is the way business works in scale these days. It
yeah.
just it's you know the,
I mean,
like
think about it. Where do you go, like, to all the individuals in the, that are watching,
we
where
go
do
to
you
YouTube,
go when you need something?
YouTube,
I
or
mean, if
on
you
a
need a
Google.
lawn service, you go to Google or you go to Yelp and Yelp and Google you know, everything is tied together and that's where we go. Or you go to YouTube or you go online. It's like the first thing you do when you need something. But
Mhm.
all right, I think we should tackle some of these comments because we've got a lot of really great people in here tonight and I want to make sure that we give them adequate attention.
Yeah, okay, yeah, they've been piling up. Okay, so but the best thing to make, I'm going to wrap up this question. The best thing to make is
Okay.
something that you are passionate about, that you have a circle that you're passionate about. I talk about Jeep owners. Patriotic, you just simply can't go wrong with American patriotism. In
No.
other countries, you got to think of what is emotionally driving people, what they're proud of, what they bond to.
Hmm.
Religious, there's plenty of religious projects that you can create, for
Yeah.
Catholic, for Christian, it's just,
Or you
uh,
can stick with holidays. I mean, holidays are great. If I know a lot of businesses that's primarily what they focus on, and then each year they have a bigger variety of what they have. There's a great entrepreneur on Instagram, and her name's Kendra's Got Wood, and I just love her stuff. It's so adorable. I even bought a sweatshirt from her. It's one of her creations, but she outsources the sweatshirts to have them printed. She just uploads her artwork to it. And I bought a sweatshirt because I think it's super cute. It's a little snowman, and he's got like his little tool, you know, tool bag of a ruler and a hammer and a wrench. And I was like, oh my gosh, that is so adorable. Like, I want one. And of course, as you said, I bought it not because it was a money thing, it was because I wanted it. I'm like, "Oh, that relates to me." Like, it's
mhm,
so cute.
yeah,
But she does some great work and she does a lot of holiday related decor and she does great. So, I mean, if that's something that you want to stick with, of course, holidays here in the US, as you know, the Hallmark has the Hallmark holidays. St. Patty's Day. I mean, it's huge.
Valentine's
And
Day. Thanksgiving, all of them.
Valentine's
Flags
Day.
on July 4th. The only thing about holidays is you have to shift gears, right? You have to,
And you
you
always
have
have to stay
4th of July,
ahead of the
and you
curve.
have to be months ahead of it to be
Yeah,
ready for it. And you can't necessarily project what you're going to sell. So it's
that's
better
true.
to, yeah, it's
I think
better
she's
to,
kind of cornered the market on selling to women for things for their home that are cute and unique and not it's not something you can go to Hobby Lobby and buy. It's a very uh what's the word I'm looking for? It's a very upscale decor. Um it's just a higher level of decor. Like her artwork is just
mhm,
it's really incredible.
okay. All right, good, good. Um, so, uh, pricing. One other thing I want to ask you about. So you sold some flags that you made. How much did you sell them for?
I sold them for around $280.
Okay, right. And she sold none on Etsy. Okay, if you
None.
go to Etsy, these wooden flags, people are selling for $80, right? It's pathetic pricing,
It's
right?
ridiculous.
Yeah.
It would cost me 25 to ship it just because of the dang size.
Mhm.
So,
So don't necessarily think Etsy. Use Etsy as a proving ground for you as an experiment. Um, but your pricing. So Kate had just stated $250 for flag. I want you to think in those terms when we're brand new. That's like, oh God, really? Nobody's going to pay that. Yes, they will. The stronger the emotion that they have to something,
yep.
the more they will pay for it. Okay, so we have Terry. You have issues with people seeing all your things you've made, raving about it, and end up walking without purchasing.
Ugh,
Have you
it's
experienced that,
hard.
Kate?
Oh yeah. Yeah. I got a really nice dose of that at the Pinners conference last October when I went. I worked my butt off for months. And I had some success. I had, some custom orders, but people would walk in and they were like, "Oh, it's so nice. Yeah, you do great work. Yeah, yeah." Wouldn't purchase a dang thing. And what I learned was I was in the wrong market. I was in the wrong space. Um, the event that I was at, it was more of a do-it-yourself kind of event, like, grab a craft and go do it. So a lot of these people had set budgets and they see a flag for $280 and they're like, I don't have that kind of money on me right now.
Mm-hmm.
Or that's not something I'm going to spend right now. But what I did learn about the market is I had a lot of it was another company. It was actually called Maker Flow Crafts. I mean, they're huge. They've done all kinds of stuff. They make tons of tumblers and epoxies and stuff for a lot of makers. And the guy came up to me and he goes, I think your stuff is incredible. You are very, very talented. He said, but you're at the wrong event, honey. And I said, okay. I said, well, where do I need to be? And he said, you need to be in Nashville. And I said, okay. And he goes, I guarantee you somebody would literally walk up to you and go, how much for the whole booth? Just all of it, just for you to grab your stuff, grab your purse, and walk away. He goes, people will do that in Nashville if you are at the right event.
You're talking about
And
Nashville,
so,
Indiana,
um,
or Nashville,
no,
Tennessee?
Nashville, Tennessee.
Okay.
Yeah. Just because, I've got these big epoxy bears and I've got wooden flags and United States cutouts and, all of this really cool stuff,
Yeah.
all of my creations. So
Okay.
I got a heavy dose of everybody comes in and looks at it and walks away.
Yeah. So there's several reasons that can happen, and they can be combined reasons. Right. You identified
Okay.
one. You're in the wrong place with the wrong item. Right.
Right.
Another one is, as a creator, you've made too many variety of things.
Oh, yeah.
And what that means is, if you're not zeroed in on on the product, a customer can come up and if you have too much variety of, you've got a plaque and you have a flag and you have a little doohickey that stands on the table, and just kind of it's a mix of stuff that sends a psychological message to the customer that there's not a lot of clarity for them to zero in on. Right, there's too
Yeah.
much noise, and
Yeah.
and
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 I have
so
learned that.
Yeah. So this is the
Yeah.
other reason why we want to get kind of clear and get into a niche. So when we are clear, we can project clarity to them. And when we project clarity to them, they are much more willing to buy. So
Yes.
if you've made way too many things, you're putting all this stuff on the table, that could be one of the reasons.
Yep.
Um, your pricing structure can be wrong for the type of people that are in the venue or wherever you're putting it at. So
Yeah.
so that's why it's important to be aware of what kind of demographic is where you're at. So those are some answers to that question. And so kind of think about what you're selling and how you're selling it, how you're displaying it. And everybody's gonna say our stuff looks pretty, right? But
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
also want sometimes you're at a place where people just aren't there really to buy. They're just Googling, window shopping.
Yeah. Well, and
Okay.
I
So,
think it's really important for new CNCers or new people that are trying this business avenue. I did all of the wrong things, as I've learned in talking to you and doing this mentoring over the past year. But it was hard for me to see that when I was like first starting out because I had just gotten my CNC. I was like, I want to make all the things. And that's exactly what I did. I made all the things, but that's how I've become so good at working with my CNC because if I didn't, do profile cuts, if I didn't do 3D carves, if I didn't do all of the things, I wouldn't know how to do them to help me navigate where I want to go now. But looking back and seeing that, so I would encourage you to maybe do a craft fair with some of your projects that you've made, take some custom orders or try, see what sells, batch some small things out and see what sells. Do a social experiment.
well, so
Maybe?
I want to challenge you on that, right?
Okay.
Because that was the mistake that you made in the beginning because you didn't know. You just made stuff. Let's see what sells. I mean, part of it you were just learning, right? But
Yeah.
the other end is let's see what sells instead of doing the work up front to say who is my
Okay.
market, who is my customer, what is their
Okay.
psychology, and what do they
All
want
right, I hear you.
to
I'll
get.
I'll bite.
Uh
I'll
huh.
bite.
Okay.
I really think that's great because I was reading one of the comments. It says, "Hobo with wood. I believe you make your money when you buy your materials and not overbuilding. Example, making champagne products in a beer market." Yeah,
Exactly.
you're right. I didn't take that into I didn't take that into account. I was just so
Mhm.
excited about doing all the things
Yeah.
that I didn't
And
stop to do the work.
yep, and you got overwhelmed. Most new business people don't understand that, right? I didn't understand it when I
Mhm.
first started getting mentored. So um, that's why I'm finding as you and I are doing this, more and more people are emailing me about mentoring, right?
Oh,
So
fantastic.
yeah, so I know I'm going to start group mentoring, right?
Oh,
And
that'll be
then
cool. That'll be fun.
yeah, yeah. Um, okay, so let's hobo. Let's see. So, Mike, I just popped this in. I didn't read it yet. It would be good to
Yeah.
tell any customer that what you are making for them is unique, personalized to them, and it's not available from China. Okay, so let's talk a little bit about this. This is good, and this is good to challenge, Mike, because this is the way we think um, early on. So the we want to work with the customer's emotions, right? We want to
Right.
understand and get what I told you before, Kate, is what I say means something, what you say means everything, right? So you as the customer, right? If I'm telling you this could be for your daughter, and it would be, she would just love this, and then, I could sound very easily like a car salesman, right?
Oh, yeah.
Uh, and nobody likes to be sold to. No one wants salesmen, and us as CNC business owners, this is one of the little areas that is a challenge. I don't know how to do sales. It's because we are going to sell stuff, but it's the idea that we have to get out there and try to convince people is the wrong thinking,
Yes,
right?
I agree.
So here in Mike's statement is we want to understand. This is why we want to do avatar work. Avatar, I've said this a lot, but I haven't really defined it. So avatar
Right.
is is you have sat down and identified a single individual, one person that is your primary buyer. And so in my case, IDC Woodcraft, I have it written down, right? I know who it is. His name is Retiring Ron, right? He's
Nice.
62 years old. He's getting ready to go into retirement. He's married. He's got 3 kids. They've all left the nest. Most of them live a little bit too far away to make it convenient. He's got grandkids. He's missing them, uh, and
Yep.
he's an empty nester, and he's leaving the workforce. And he's
That is
feeling
very specific.
it's extremely specific, right?
Yeah.
He's a professional. And then there's the blue collar one too, right? So I've like 3 main avatars, right? And the reason this is so important, Mike and everyone else, and you, Kate, is because when we understand who our main market is, which is could be military, male military, retired, uh, right? So we have to
Yeah.
needle down, and so we can understand what's important to them, what pains are they having, what's important to them, how do they want to express themselves. People buy American flags that we make because they are expressing their patriotism. They belong to
Yeah.
something that that as an American we all understand it. Non-Americans, they don't
Hmm.
quite get it, but it's I'm not going to dive into the psychology of that, but
It gets a little
right,
deep.
right. So it's not
Yeah.
that we want to tell the customer that it's unique. It's that we want the customer to understand that we can make something unique that's is going to add value to something that's important to them.
Yes. Yeah.
Okay.
I think
So
that's
yeah,
so important
yep.
to tap into.
And so what we are doing, what we do is we get that customer. We kind of strayed a bit from the pricing thing, but again,
Yeah.
this stuff is so important because when you understand that customer and you've sat down and you've done this work to, then you know what that customer is willing to pay, right? You know what they're
You make a
expecting.
very fair, very solid point.
Hmm.
Very solid point. Yeah.
So yeah, yeah, and then we also know their psychology, and then we know how to talk to them in a way that we don't have to tell them we make unique stuff that's important to them. We help them see it from themselves, and when they see it themselves, and they say, "Hey, you can do this for me," now it's got a lot more weight than us
Yeah.
telling them. Is this
Mm.
making sense?
Oh yeah. Yeah. 100%.
Rehash
I'm
that
sitting.
for yourself and for everybody else. 2 minutes.
I man, I hate when you do this to me. It's like calling me out on the carpet. It's like, it's your turn to read in middle school again. It's like, oh, all right. I was doing a lot of thinking through that. I was listening, I promise, but I was also
I
doing a
know
lot
you
of
were.
thinking, doing a lot of deep thinking. Okay, so let's look at the realtor again. Like I said, it's not just her that I'm creating a unique gift for her. That's not what I'm trying to appeal to. I'm trying to appeal to the sense of importance that it brings to her, that it brings value to her life. Like I said, it's not about look what I can make you and look, I've got these different objects. It's more about, I don't know what the right verbiage is. My brain's going 100 miles
No,
an hour.
I know. Well, let's try it this way, right? Your realtor has sold a house to somebody, and so they have their new toy, right? And for those of us who have purchased houses, it's a big moment for us.
Yes.
This is our home, and so when that realtor can come in and say, "I got something that says this is home," right? Um,
Yeah.
that that's emotional value, and when you can get the realtor to see that that's what that customer, you know, what the realtor can deliver to that customer through your products, right?
Yes.
And the return the realtor is going to receive from that customer. Oh my God, this is so beautiful. You know,
Yeah, it was
that's
so thoughtful. That's exactly what was in my brain that I was trying to get out. The emotional validation from the client to the realtor, because I have been in that situation. So we have a realtor up north that helped us sell our house in Indianapolis. She helped us buy our house in DeMott, and then she helped us sell our house in DeMott. And she's been with us through 3 house transaction. Like, she would come over for dinner, her boys would come over
mhm,
for dinner. She was a part of our family. But I would say when you're in these higher end real estate transactions, there's nothing more than a realtor can receive is that emotional validation that she has done every single thing to make that client happy, and for them to say, good job, this is the perfect gift, I'm going to hang it in my front entryway, oh, you're so thoughtful and so wonderful. That's what we want to bring
mhm.
to our clients. We want to give
in
them that.
in some ways, that gift that realtor gives to them can be more important than the house. Right?
Yes.
The house uh, is a personal action. The gift is a validation in a sense. It's like when I send out the router bits and I throw in M&Ms, and some people, it's so much fun to see the
Yeah.
posts in Facebook when people are saying, "And I got M&Ms," right? You're like,
Yeah.
yeah. Oh, by the way, I got some bits too, but I got M&Ms, right? So you get router bits with your M&Ms, right?
Yeah, yeah. Well, the other day when because I ordered some bits, well, because we processed them out, but I was literally setting up my laser for the first time, and I was like, oh my gosh. I was like, my son brought out my package, and he was like, hey, you got another package from Garrett, and I like ripped over the package and like dumped it out, and I was like, ah, man. He must have like really felt extra generous this week. I'm like, I got 2 packs of M&Ms, and my son was like, "What is that? What he sent you?" I was like, "No." I was like, "Here's the bit," but I was like, put it on my toolbox because I was
Right,
so frustrated. But the M&Ms were like the perfect icing on the cake.
right. So
Okay.
understand that it's the little things can be the biggest things. Okay,
Yeah.
so Yard Sale LLC. This is Harold. He's made several pieces as samples of the types of things he can make. And thanks to my video. So thank you, Harold. I've sold some, not many. I've been offering my pieces on the Facebook Marketplace. Uh, Price is hard. Um, yeah, so Marketplace can be kind of funny, right? One of the
Yeah.
things with Facebook is you want to think about, because Facebook, Google, YouTube all work based on SEO and patterns of people.
Hmm.
So if people are in the CNC groups a lot, they're going to get ads for CNC stuff, right? And you want to take advantage of that. So when you're posting something, you want to make sure you are using keywords that people are looking for in your descriptions. So uh, this is something else. You can go to Google, and when you type into Google, you start typing in a search, and all this stuff pops up that
Yeah.
suggested searches. That is the top list of what people are searching for. Those are the
Yeah.
keywords to be using. So keywords are words you need to use in your description of your products. Do that in Facebook, do that in wherever else you're posting your stuff on your website, Etsy. You think
Yeah.
this is why we do the customer. What is their language in? What are they
Yeah.
typing in? Not what we think we need to type in, right?
Yeah.
So for the router bits, for the starter kit, so many times in Facebook, people are saying, does anybody know where I can get a good starter bit of CNC bits? What do you think?
Type that
This
into Google.
in my posts on my website, on my ads, because I have ads, I
Yeah.
use that exact phrase. So Facebook knows when people are typing that in, right? It's going
And
to
it
take
will
my
start popping up in their stuff.
it'll take my ad and start popping it up.
Yeah.
right? This
Yeah.
is business. So, Harold, think about how you're using your languaging, right? And also, people respond. Um, Words sell, put it that way.
Yeah.
So, words
Well,
and
I
stories.
think since we are kind of right, like a little of about 4 minutes over the top of the hour, I think let's really start to dive into the price
Yeah.
aspect of how we price our products and how we factor in
Okay. Yeah.
all of the
Okay.
things.
All right. So the first thing clearly is you have to make money, right? So you have your materials, you got your time,
Yes.
right? You have your shipping, you got your packaging, if you are shipping items, right? So you got to
Yes.
take into account your materials twice, at least 2x the price of your materials, at least.
You
Okay,
said 2x, so two
2x.
times the pricing materials.
Yeah,
I
at
always say
least.
anything that goes out to the client, whether it's the box, it's a sticker, it's the bubble wrap, it's um, whatever, the actual product, that I would factor in the two times.
Mhm,
Or not necessarily just the actual product, but like I said, the bubble wrap, the box, stickers, tape, all the things.
mhm. And so physical materials is easy to figure out, right? There's
Okay.
contingencies that you sometimes have to take into account.
Right.
Um, right. So we always want to kind of take into account a contingency. So the general number is 2.5 times or better
Okay.
or higher. As far as time, okay, you want to charge your labor now for all the creators who are watching right now, right? If you're in learning mode, that's just part of the process. We have to eat that time because learning is just part of what we have to do, right?
Yeah.
There's no getting around it, and that's freebie. Um, and what one of the things you can do is say, kind of try to get a feel. If I was good at this, how long would this take? Right, being new is kind of hard to do that. But
Yeah.
the other thing is look at what other people are paying. Also, find people in the Facebook group, sign up to CNC entrepreneurs, and ask in there, what do you take a picture of it? What would you charge for this? Um, and
Yeah.
you'll get some answers. You'll get a lot of variety of answers,
Oh,
but
yeah.
you also want to go back to the person and say, why would you charge that much? Why not more? Why not less? Right? We don't want to just accept an answer. We want to understand their thinking and how they're justifying it.
Yeah. I
Because
think that's important.
even CNC creators are at different financial levels, right? So we see things based on our own filters, right?
Yeah.
And so if we're thinking, oh, I can't go above 85 bucks on this, that's what they're going to say, right? When the project can sell for your flag can sell for 250 bucks.
Yep. It
Okay,
can.
so
It
yeah,
can.
all right.
It just
That's
depends on where your market is.
yeah. Never undervalue your talent. Okay, that's from Maple and Hickory Woodworking. Yeah.
Hmm.
Sometimes we don't understand our talent, right? We don't understand how well our talent is, right? We don't see it in ourselves.
Right.
Um,
Yep. I
right.
have a hard
So
time with that myself. I won't
yeah.
lie.
And that's the other part of the psychology that we have to get over in ourselves, that we have to start seeing what Maple and Hickory said, right? Is start seeing our true value for what it's worth. So on that note, right, that you have helped people on the phone through this stuff and you're giving your
Yeah.
time away while you've got kids you're managing and sports and cooking and doing all the laundry and trying to do this business, and you're on a horn trying to walk other people through it. And it's time to stop giving that away for free.
Hmm.
You are building up a skill, you have a skill, it's time to start charging for your time.
I guess I really hadn't thought about it like that because I think of more of them as like friends because we've built a relationship for
Mm-hmm,
such a long time.
mm-hmm,
But there are a lot of like I have a lot of people on. I'm like, send me the file. I'll take a look at it, and I'll sit there and look at it. But I guess I don't realize that I will sit there and talk with them and teach them and coach them through what they've maybe done wrong or what techniques to use to try and correct or, make the project go a little faster. But then I look up at the clock and 2 hours have gone by and I'm like,
So,
crud.
so at the very least, then get yourself signed up to buy me a cup of coffee, right? Which is
Yeah,
basically it's a donation thing that works through PayPal. Don't sign up to Patreon. If you have a Patreon account, I'm sorry, but
I don't know.
good, good, good. Sign up for that and ask people. This is where you have to literally ask for the sale. You say, you know what? I've just
Yeah,
spent 2 hours with you. Let them know what you're giving them, right?
yeah.
Would you mind contributing something to donate a cup of coffee?
I drink a
And
lot of coffee.
yep, yep, and they'll get it, and
So
they'll donate to
that's
you.
a good idea.
Yep. So,
Okay.
and speaking of calls to action, right? So, um, in business, we do have to ask for a sale. It's learning what asking for the sale is, right? Asking for a sale is
Okay.
not, hey, will you buy this? Right. Asking for the
Yeah,
sale
no.
is after you've given some value to them. Um,
Yeah.
but calls to action. Okay, so number one, I'm going to give a call to action for everybody who's listening right now and watching. Is Kate has a YouTube channel, Rise and Shine Wood Signs, right?
Hmm.
I'll link it in this video when it goes when YouTube processes it. So sign up to your YouTube channel. Sign up to the IDC Woodcraft YouTube channel. Subscribe to it, right? Um,
We would be
and join
grateful.
the CNC Entrepreneurs Facebook group. If
Yep.
you're a woman, a female, join the Women Who CNC Facebook group that Kate has started. And
Yeah.
it's a women only group. And that is one of these things. Can men join? It's Women Who CNC, right? And that's what it's going to be. And
Yeah.
I am, you know, Kate's had a lot of you've had a bit of resistance to doing that because it's challenging. It's challenging
It's
because
challenging, but I feel like there's a lot of women that don't stand up for themselves,
mm,
and I'm going to be that boss lady that's going to stand up for them and say, "It's all right. It's okay.
and
It's
I
okay for
am
you to come into
yep,
it's okay for you to come into our group and
right, and I'm
ask what you want to ask."
100% behind you. And lastly, get the IDC Woodcraft CNC router bit app. You will have all your feeds and speeds right on your cell phone. So
Oh, it's
uh,
so nice.
yeah, that is really cool. It's the only CNC router bit app out there. I mean, there's
That's
a
incredible.
couple for like that you do all these calculations, and it's like, what the hell? Even I didn't
Yeah,
understand.
I can't hardly figure those dumb things
Yeah.
out either.
Okay.
It struggles it.
Right. If you continually reduce prices to suit the financially challenged customer, then you will get a reputation for doing that. Exactly. Um, it'll be and what you're doing, you're also lowering your own sense of financial value, right?
Hmm.
You will become addicted to that. You will find it hard to go back up in pricing.
Yeah, because you're
And
so used to dropping the price down.
yeah, a lot of people will be afraid to lose a sale, right? And
Yeah,
so we'll drop the price. Oh my God, I got to get the sale. And we don't want that. We want our prices to be up and
yeah.
increase our net profit, our ROI, rather than try to pinch pennies, right? Basically, as my mentor said, we're walking over dollars to pick up pennies when we're doing that.
My dad used to say that to me when I was
Yep, yep. And
younger.
this mentality that Mike has brought up is what we call racing to the bottom. And down at the bottom, that's where everybody and their brothers at. You will be fighting with everybody. It'll be such a struggle.
Yeah, yeah,
Um, okay, Facebook user, you feel like it's perceived value you place on your craftsmanship. It's the perceived value that the customer places on the meaning of the project to them, right?
yeah,
If I'm interpreting this right, we have our own perceived value, and this is why we have to step out and do our avatar work,
yeah.
right?
Well, I will
Because
give you I'll give you just a quick no, sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt.
no,
So I have a friend of mine. They had their 50th wedding anniversary. Love them dearly. And I had a lady I was at the event and she saw my piece that I had made. It was a beautiful 3D carving, and I told her, she asked me the price on it if I were to make her one, and I told her the price, and I said it's about 275, and she just looked at me and she goes, "Oh, I just don't know if I could pay that for a hunk of wood." As a woodworker, I was just like, "Well, I'm not giving you a hunk of wood.
Mhm.
I'm giving you a beautifully crafted piece of art that would have your names inscribed on it, and it's a 3D carve. If you wanted me to give you a hunk of wood, I mean, you can come out to the wood shop and I'll just, here you go. I'll give you a hunk of wood, and I'm not going to charge you 275 for it. I mean, you can just,
What's that tell you about that person?
they don't know. I don't want to say they don't know their own value, but they don't have the respect for the craft.
They don't have the respect for the craft because their own psychology doesn't have certain respect for themselves. They don't have respect for um, people project out what they are inside.
Mm,
This is the hardest thing for people to wrap around their head, right?
yeah.
It's like the story of the scorpion and the fox that I told you about. All
Tricky
right.
little story.
Yeah, yeah. I guess we should share it. We brought that up. Okay. Because you as a business owner, talking to everyone, you will run, we talked about this earlier on. You're going to run into these customers. They're just buttheads. And so
Yeah.
the story goes like this, and the story kind of helps it make sense. That the scorpion comes to the river, and the scorpion wants to get across the river, but he knows he can't. He will drown. The river's just way too big for him. As he's sitting there waiting and trying to figure out how he's going to get across, a fox comes up and is getting ready to cross the river. And the scorpion says, "Hey, excuse me, fox." And the fox turns and says, "I want to get on the other side of the river, but if I try to get across, I'll drown. Can I ride on your back as you're going across the river?" And the fox says, "Well, no, you're going to sting me." And the scorpion says, "No, just want to get to the other side. I won't sting you." And the fox says, "I don't trust you." And the scorpion said, "I promise, I just want to get to the other side. I won't sting you." And finally, the scorpion convinces the fox that it won't sting him. Fox says, "Fine, get on my back. I'll take you across," and you hop off and get out of here. Scorpion says, "Thanks." And as they're going across, the scorpion stings the fox. And as the fox starts to fade away, and he turns to the scorpion and says, "Why did you do that? You promised you wouldn't do that." And the scorpion said, "I can't help it. It's my nature." The moral of the story is the butthead customers that you have that don't give you the respect, like this one that Kate just said, "Oh, it's a hunk of wood." It's their nature. We don't need to get mad at them. We just fire
No.
them. Okay, it's who they
Yeah.
are, and this is
It
why we
wasn't, she wasn't even a customer yet. She was just a
right
potential asking me about it. And I thought, well, if you don't see the value in it, then that's on you. So
exactly.
moving on down
It's
the road.
right. It's who she is. But this is just the nature of some people, right?
Yeah.
And so when people get us angry, their nature is tapping into something that we're not strong in. And that's the wake up call to say, why is this bothering me? What is it about me? Because I want to get over it, because I don't want to be pissed off about that anymore. I just want to be able to brush that person off.
Yeah.
Okay. Got a bunch more. Um, got Michael Moore. Quite often, wealthy people are at the Ducks Waves Wang, and that's watertight. They didn't get wealthy from spending too much money. So what he's saying here, sometimes they can be really, really hard to deal with too,
Hmm.
right? And they can be try to pinch you as much as they can. And this customer you fire too, right?
Yeah.
It's not worth losing the peace and mentality, yeah, the peace of mind for you. Um, is there any that you're seeing that you want to address?
Um,
Boy, lots of comments, and I wish I could hammer all these.
yeah. Adam, he says, I feel like as a woodworker, the need to understand self-worth is very important to learn pricing.
Mm-hmm.
It
Absolutely.
is.
The more you understand your worth, that will affect where you're going to sell your stuff too, and it'll affect
Yeah.
how you're pricing your stuff.
Thank you, Adam, for that comment. That's very
Yeah,
good.
yeah. Um, Harold, your project started as therapy, as Garrett knows. Now you want to work on making it a business. Marketing is a challenge. Totally. Okay, so you're doing in lay piece. So marketing is a strategy, right?
Mhm.
But marketing is understanding that it's about gauging feelings in people, making them feel things, and um, yeah, you have to make them feel things in order for them to buy from you.
Yeah. Um, Ken says, would like to see boards that are worth that much. Yeah. Yeah.
They're there. The $2,100 boards, they're there.
Yeah.
Then so think of it that the you've got your standard board that most homes have, 18 by 24, right? You make it a
Yeah.
1 inch thick board out of walnut, whatever. People are going to pay a fair dollar for it. But then you're getting into the 1.5 inch thick boards that are whatever. Um,
A big.
but again, it still comes back to the nature of the customer. Um, you won't see those
Yeah.
boards on Etsy, right? The
No.
2100 because that market is not going into Etsy,
No, they're not.
right? They're buying
Not even
specialty.
close.
Yep, they're buying specialty, and that's
Yeah.
what that's what you want to.
They've gotten in with a crowd.
Yeah, how do you set yourself apart? Adam said. Um, so that's understanding what the market is doing. What we'll use the word competition. I don't like to use that word because you never
Yeah.
look at yourself as in competition. You want to see what the market that's selling the same projects as you are selling and what they're
Yeah.
doing, and you want to kind of be really objective about it. Uh, Saying
I
what
have
seems,
never seen myself as competition with
yeah,
other makers. I'm like, there is more than enough to go around.
yes, yeah. Yeah, it's an abundant world, but I'm the one that's used the word, and I just want to be very carefully that
Yeah.
don't be in competition with other businesses because that's what drives you to the bottom. That's what stresses you out. You want to be unique, right? And certain people are going to engage with you, right? Because they resonate with you. This is why
Yeah.
Women Who CNC Facebook group. You have a story, the mom's story, the busy mom, right? And there's a ton of women that feel like that, and
Oh yeah.
so they're going to resonate with you, right? And us guys, we don't get it. We have no business being in that group because we don't understand what you as a mom, wife, woman really does from up here, and how.
Yeah. I mean, think about all the different books that have been written on it.
Yeah, yeah.
Men are from Mars, women are from Venus. We we communicate and learn very differently than one
Hmm.
another.
Yeah, we're at 9:22, so 8 more minutes and we'll knock off.
Okay.
Quite often personal shine. Find something you like. So it makes blue line flags. Yeah. Okay. I like this. Yeah.
Yep.
What do you make? Okay. Blue line flags. Those are like
Yep. Logo.
yeah. Those are law enforcement, right? So
Yep.
it's an American flag with the middle stripe blue, right?
The blue line.
Um,
Yeah.
mhm.
I think
So
I think he's, like I said, the patriotic, it's a very nichey category.
well,
He's
yeah.
gotten extremely well at doing, he's done very, very well at doing this. He's making
Mm,
these, and do what you're good at.
yeah.
And if they keep selling, then
Absolutely. Here's the thing to think about. So this is not just patriotic. Okay, there's two, just in what he said, there are two levels of emotional attachment here, right?
mhm,
Number one is the patriotism. Number two is the law enforcement, right? And
yeah,
cops are bonded, they're brotherhood. Firefighters are brotherhood. Military are
mhm,
brotherhood. EMS are brotherhood. And
all
there's
of them.
yeah, and so there's a double whammy here that gives that extra oomph, and they are going to pay more for it than
Yeah,
a standard American flag that doesn't have anything on it,
yeah.
right?
And I wouldn't be surprised if he gets hit up to do retirement flags or badges or, something unique. But
Hmm.
he's got an in with that group, and then he's going to become well known
Yeah,
to do
yeah, and
that.
that's the other thing is work at it. Once you decide and you know that market's there, you got to stay with it. You got to get let your name start to get out there, and it takes time.
Mhm.
And
It
we have
does.
to learn how to be patient. All right, Kate, pick a couple more.
Um, Let me read. Oh, maple and hickory woodworking. I made quite a few LEO flags, and specifically with department patches and badges. Yep, that's exactly what we were just saying.
Mhm.
Um, I've sold a lot of photo V-carve photos on MDF. I've seen those become really popular too. A lot of people like to do those.
Yeah,
Uh,
it's a different angle. Um,
mhm.
okay.
And it's not an easy art. I've tried it. It's not easy. Um, Gordon says, good idea so far. Have yet to make anything, but have a complete shop with all the stuff. Come on, Gordon.
Yes, get making, brother. Um,
Do, do, do,
yeah.
do. Ace Works, congratulations on buying your new CNC. That's very exciting. You bought a
Okay.
Phantom.
Yeah. Oh, did he? Excellent.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's my big boy. I finally actually have that thing running, and I am going to give a little teaser here. Most of you are aware that I have the Hog roughing bit. Well, I am coming out with a Generation 2 Hog, and this thing I've tested on the Phantom. Um, I could not break that bit. I was running it through plywood, 100% step over, 3/4 of an inch deep at 600 inches per minute. And I ripped through a 4 feet of plywood.
Holy
So that
shit.
thing is on order. I've approved it with my tooling company, and so they are going to be coming in soon. So whoever's watching
Yikes.
this, yeah, whoever's watching this, you got a heads up.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, but this is interesting. So Smokey, 9 out of 10 times his wife needs something around the house. I'll make it and post it on Facebook. Thousands of views, 100 messages,
100 messages.
and about 50
That's a lot of
sales per
messages. I'm
project.
so sorry.
Every project turns into money. Okay, so it's the power of Facebook, right? It's the power of friends in Facebook. This is what I want you to do in Facebook if you have Facebook. When you're getting ready to post a project on Facebook to show it off to people, at least 2 hours beforehand, start commenting on all the Facebook posts, all your friends' posts, whatever. Because what Facebook does is when they see those comments, what it's going to do is put your feed in front of that person. So you comment to them, Facebook will put your next post in front of them. Okay, so it's kind of free marketing that way. And you
Yeah.
don't have to say you're selling stuff. It'll just Facebook will put it out there. So that's a little golden bonus tip for you. But the other thing that's important here, women buy stuff. Women are often the decision makers. So um, really think about that in your projects. Is your market and women the decision makers in what you're creating? All right. Um,
Yeah.
yeah. So we're coming to the end. Kate, I want to first of all, I want to thank everyone for being here and sharing thoughts. And I
Yeah.
do apologize that we have not hit every one of them. Um, try our best,
Yeah.
but I hope
I
that
was looking.
yeah, I hope you gained something out of this. And if you did, and on YouTube, I just appreciate a thumbs up. And so just down below the video, see, there's a call to action. Okay, we're
Yeah.
asking in business, we ask for the sale, and
Yeah.
so comments. So what have you? We talked a bit about pricing, but we also talked what comes before pricing. All right. So what have you kind of picked up from this time that you now have to kind of process?
I feel like I feel like I definitely want to explore the pricing thing a lot more because it is so tricky for a lot of people. Um, Maybe we can hit on that more a little bit next week. And then also, I really need to dive more into my avatar work because you called me out, which is so good in mentoring. I think that that's why I love having you as my mentor because you see through the bullshit and you call me out on it. And I mean, I'm being totally honest. You do. You call me out because sometimes I will get off on a tangent and my mind is like a squirrel and I have a thousand things going through my brain, but you always seem to reel me back in and say, "This is why we're doing the work and this is why you're past year 1. It's time to you figured out the CNC, you figured out the software. Do I know everything about CNC? Absolutely not. But I know enough to be dangerous and I know enough to make some really cool stuff. But what do I want to do from here? Um, I know last week we talked about the avatar and what I was going to do, and we talked about women who CNC. And I think that having the group and finding my specific thing that I need to do is really important.
Mm-hmm.
Um, whether that's selling things online or that's making projects or working with, high-end clients, there's a lot of wheels turning in my brain as to
Mm-hmm.
where I want to take my business. And so I really talking about the niche and understanding why people that are so successful when they do one thing and they focus on one or two or maybe three things that all relate, like we talked about the flags, the badges, and retirement plaques. Those people are wildly successful because they've cornered the market on that. And that's what is hard with CNC work because you have the possibilities of everything at your fingertips.
Mm-hmm.
But you've got to nail it down. You've
Right.
got to, you know,
Right. As you're thinking about this, you mentioned kind of four different directions here, right?
see, I told you.
Yeah, no, that's okay. That's what we do. So the first thing to do is what feels natural, right? If it doesn't feel like it's natural, it doesn't mean you won't pivot a little bit
Yeah,
later, okay? It doesn't mean that as you put out your stuff to the market starts asking you for some different things and tells you. At the end of the day, the market is going to tell you. So for us as business owners, everybody who's on here, if you're not having success, it, don't think of failure as a negative thing. Think of it as the market is simply telling you that what you're doing is not resonating with them. So it can either be you're going after the wrong market, you're not being clear enough to the market, you're pricing wrong to the market, you're communicating wrong to the market, you're not narrowed into a specific market enough. So there's lots of different
yeah,
reasons. That's why we do this stuff up front. Um, yeah.
yeah.
So
I wish I
so
had figured this out a lot sooner. Would have saved
well,
me a lot of heartache.
yeah. Right. But don't worry, I went down the same road as you did. And I finally did the same thing. I says, I need help. I can't do it myself. I don't know. I just don't know why. And then
Yeah.
when you start getting mentored, then you're like, oh, and then
Oh,
shit
light
sinks in.
bulb,
Yeah,
light bulb, light bulb.
right. So, um, okay, so this time on your notepad, you're going to write down what I want you to do is brainstorm, right? Just do a brain dump of all this shit that you want to make, all these different angles you want to go at.
Okay.
Just do a brain dump, okay, and just get it out of your head. Right,
Yeah.
it's like clutter going on up there, and that's getting in the way of a bunch of stuff. All right, so
Yeah.
so a brain dump. All you're going to do is just make a list of everything, and literally you'll have it all in 5 minutes, 10 minutes, right?
Not
And
crazy.
then yeah, and then think about what these different opportunities that you think you have, and also the other opportunities you've already had where you have
Okay.
made sales already.
Okay. All right.
Right. The other thing
Oh,
is the women who CNC. You got to dig into that avatar. Okay. So really, as a surface thing, we'll just do it right now. Uh, give that person a name. Tie a verb to the name. Stress out Susan, right? Or whatever it may be, right? And just
yeah.
kind of start to identify in your mind who this person is. Everyone who's listening and watching.
Do your homework like me.
Yeah, really. Sit down and think about who we all have a story, right? And your story is going to resonate with somebody. And so you really need to start thinking about who that individual is. When you're doing avatar, you cannot say, well, they're between 35 and 45. Do not do that.
That's a
Give
big
them
age gap.
a specific one specific person. So important. I didn't get this either. And it's so natural. And the reason we do that, we say, oh, there's between 35 and 45. Psychologically, if we zero down to a single person, we feel like we're closing ourselves down to a market, like to all business.
Let me ask you one question about the avatar.
Yeah.
If you're doing this avatar work, is this person that you're trying to market to, I know this may sound dumb, but I'm going to ask anyway. Does this person need to correlate with who we are and what we're feeling?
The best way to do it is identifying with you, right? You know
Okay,
you
that's
and
what I'm wondering.
you know your pains and desires, right? And ultimately, with the avatar, we want to know what their pain and their desire is, right? And then we can make CNC projects around that, but we have to know how to engage those pains and desires,
Okay.
right? So I had
That's why
another
I was wondering because like I'm very crafty, so and naturally comes to my like off the tip of the tongue, crafty Kate.
uh-huh.
Um, but I also know what my pains and my desires are. So
Hmm.
I need to work to market something like that, but maybe work on the name a little bit.
Well, Crafty Kate sounds like the person who would be women who CNC. But is it really women? Is that the person that's really women who CNC? Right.
That's what I'm saying.
Right. Yeah. Stress out Susan could be the one that's like, you know, or I'm trying to think of a word for for you, but stressed out
Yeah.
Susan, right? Whatever it might be. So
Yeah.
um, when you're making your projects, it's going to be a little different because stressed out Susan doesn't want a project; she wants out of her pain.
Yeah. That's where I'm like, okay, so does this person relate to me? That's what I'm
Yeah,
trying to.
that person that's going to be in that group is for your CNC projects. For those that are listening, it's the people that want to express something. Okay, that something's important to them. Those who
Okay.
have served in the military, I'm going to give you a tip. Okay, and then we're going to knock off.
Okay.
Okay, to
Okay.
help you understand this. Okay, those who have served in the military for years later, all the way until they have hit their deathbed,
Yeah.
they always reflect back. For most people, reflect back to their days in the service. Okay. And they
Hmm.
honor that and they let people know because that was the time in their life that they felt most personally accomplished. That's when they felt the strongest bond in the brotherhood. That's when they felt really a part of something. And often they don't have that through the rest of their lives with their kids, with their families, just that one thing that they it was theirs and theirs alone, right?
Yeah.
And there's a deep yearning to have that back, but we can't go back to it, and so we cling to it, right? Um,
Yeah.
so so
I get
those are
that.
yeah. Think about that and why this is the level that we go. Why do they hold on to it? Why do they need that expression on their wall 40 years later of a flag
Because it
that
makes them
says
happy.
military? Because that's what they identify with. part of their identity that they've held on to for years, right? So our
Yeah.
job is to reinforce that identity and help them. What we are doing is we are helping them. Um, we're not selling to people. We are helping them uh, express things that are important for them, right? So
Yeah.
we are helping people by selling things to them, believe it or not.
Yeah. Well, I guess I'm going to tell you something really quickly. One thing that my my daughter and all of her friends call me is mom, Mommy Kate. I don't know why they call me Mommy Kate, but I was talking to my daughter about the other day and I said, I need to understand more about this Mommy Kate thing. And she said, because if we're hungry, you feed us. If we need something for a dance, you have it. If whatever it is, like a lot of my daughter's friends, they come from all varieties of different homes, or, a lot of their moms work, they're single moms, or, whatever their situation is, it's, if you need spandex shorts, oh, call my mom, she'll bring them to you. She's at home, she'll do it for you. You need a ride to whatever. So it's kind of like that's my identity right now is mom or Mommy Kate for all the kids.
Right.
And I know a lot of other women feel that same way right now is we're just mom, 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 mom. Like, good Lord, can you just think of just something different other than mom, please? Or mom, where is, I swear, I told my family tonight, I'm like, look, I'm going to start a jar for everybody that keeps asking me where something is. Like, figure it out.
Mm-hmm.
So, Mommy Kate, go to mom, I don't want to be called Mommy Kate in the professional world, but, Mommy Kate, how do I fix my CNC or how do I solve this problem? So
Right.
maybe something along those lines of being a mom and figuring out problems. I feel like that's all I do all day long is problem solve for people.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, just remember, she's got a pain, she's got a desire. So everyone, I hope that you gained something out of this. Uh, and Kate, I hope you've gained out of this. Gave
I
you some
have.
new food for thought.
Thank you.
And I hope that those who are listening, that you will take some of this stuff and work it because you want your business to grow. This is what you have to do to make it work. Okay, we have to
Mhm.
step back, be a little patient, start to understand who we're going after, right? And it takes a
Yeah.
little time. It takes a little time to get the clarity on it. But the more you work at it, like I said, it's all up here. The more you work at it, the better you'll do. That's a bona fide guarantee. As
Yeah.
long as you never quit. And also, if you feel like you have an attitude of this isn't working, get out of that. Focus on getting out of that and focus in the market's just telling me I'm not doing it the right way. And then ask yourself, what resources do I need that are going to give me the right tools to do it the right way? With
Yeah.
that, going to say goodbye. And next Wednesday, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, we will be back and we will dig in more into the avatar because it is
Hmm.
so important.
Yay.
All right. Okay. Say bye, Kate. I'm saying bye.
Bye, guys. Thank you again. See ya.